Good day, hello everyone. We are the Group 1 and we are about to present the 6 buildings that we have critiqued to represent each principles of design. My name is Chayan Descartin and I'll be reporting the first 3 buildings, and also we have Jericho Rico to present the following buildings. But before we start, here are my group members and their roles.
Greetings! The name is Jericho Rico as one of the leaders of this group, along with Miss Aranda and your reporter with my partner Miss Descartin.
Emerlyn Aranda, the leader and encoder of Group 1.
My name is Ronel Andrew Ramos and my role in the group project is one of the researchers.
My name is Nicky Andre Viriliano and my role in our group is researcher.
So before we proceed to our discussion, we have to answer this question first. How important it is to learn the principles of the design scope of architecture. All of the design principles are analogous to the necessary learning because this item will help us create and improve the design that we have in mind for a better vision or perspective. It also encourages you to widen your horizons and think outside the box rather than inside it. Without these principles of design, it will be very hard for the users to recognize the message that the designers wants to portray. So this is very important for us to have knowledge about the principles of the design. So for the first structure, we have here the Hagia Sophia located at Istanbul, Turkey. It was built as a Christian church in the 6th century CE, 532 to 537, under the direction of the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I. And according to Britannica, it is an important Byzantine structure in Istanbul and one of the world's great monuments. The principle of design used in the Hagia Sophia is apparently unity, since the structure's design has been altered to reflect the numerous states and religions of the region in which it is located. The 4 minarets or towers at the corners of the structure, which were later added when the Ottomans converted the structure into a mosque, are the towers that originated from Islamic religious architecture. We have the Chateau Frontenac located at Quebec, Canada, and according to Britannica, it is a chateau-style hotel in historic Old Quebec built by the Canadian Pacific Railroad Company in 1893 and designed by American architect Bruce Price. There are several changes occurred to the structure during the 20th century that changed the original design of the chateau. The central tower, designed by Edward and William Maxwell, was the most significant addition of the design. An accented rhythm and emphasis are the 2 principles of design that are applied in the structure, because the structure's main design is concentrated on the repetition of a certain design found in manor houses, which is the chateau, and how the windows are positioned within the walls of the chateau's structure. And it is emphasis because of the central tower, which stands out in the middle of the chateau, dominating the pieces around it and having a much more complex and larger composition than the surrounding elements. Next slide, we have the Milbank Tower, located at London, Westminster, England, and according to Wikipedia, it is a 119-meter or 390 feet high skyscraper in the city of Westminster at Milbank, by the River Thames in London. The tower was constructed in 1963 and has been home to many high-profile political organizations. The principle of the design applied to the Milbank Tower's design is emphasis, because the tower stands out in comparison to the rest of the buildings. Something in the subject must dominate, which is the tower that stands out as the most prominent component of the entire construction. So here we have Jericho Rico to report the following slides.
Thank you, Miss Descartin. Moving on for our next structure, we have the Sydney Opera House, which is the architect of this is Mr. John Utzon and located in Port Jackson, New South Wales in Australia. So, the Opera House is a multi-venue performing arts center that is recognized by many people since it is very iconic, since it is a most prominent and recognized as one of the most one of the most unique buildings in 20th century. So, it is constructed in March 2, 1959 and finished on October 20, 1973. Now let's talk about its principle of designs. Looking from the picture itself, the first thing you might probably notice is its roof, because the principle of this design that is associated is the rhythm. So the roof is actually designed like it has a sequence of shimmering white sail-like structures, giving the image of a yacht or a boat. So in addition to that, we all know that this structure is a free for us to think where this could be inspired. So for instance, a lot of people said that it looks like a giant flag fluttering in the wind. So where you see the pattern of the flag repeating itself in a succession behind one another in a way that it suggests a flag. Now for the next slide, here we have the music school, Loviers from France, and the architect of this is the Opus 5 organization. So in here, as you can see in the picture, the left side of the building is actually an old stone building and established in 1646 and functioned as a monastery, church, tribunal, or a jail before becoming a musical school. So the principle of the design used in this fantastic architecture is actually a contrast, because the architecture keeps the medieval and historic aura by keeping the ancient elements and giving a modern feel through the use of glass. So it is actually a contrast of a mix produces diverse textures such as smoothness and roughness. So this structure is basically a combination of an old building and a new building in one structure. So last but not the least is the Taj Mahal, and it is located at India, and the architect of this is Ustad Ahmad Lohori. So this was a quick background of this is it was built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in the memory of his wife Mumtaz Mahal, and it is constructed at 1632 AD and completed in 1648 AD. So the obvious principal design of this is actually balance, since in here they use a specific techniques or specific architecture called Mughal architecture. You can see it in India, Pakistan, around that country. So in the meaning of that is Mughal architecture is supposed to be a remarkably symmetrical and decorative design at the same time. So that is why they followed it as a symmetrical. That is why it falls into balance as its principle of design. Like the whole area is perfectly symmetrical by it is shaped as an octagonal white marble building with a four main sides of it. So next is our references that we use in our research and for our video reportings. And that is all for our reporting. We hope that you learned something new about the principle of designs and the 6 structures that we chose. Thank you for watching.